Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for you today. And didn't want to do too much of a build up. It's kind of short to the point of this video. What I've done is I've retested every single Trinket, Henchman, and Trinket, a part of the tier system as well, for AOE at CR 378 on the 5 targets in the House of Legends. The 5 targets kind of present a new opportunity because I'm used to testing just on the 3 targets, and you can't really test pets properly on the 8 sparring targets, especially the Henchmen, because they're just too far spread apart in the league halls. So 5 targets did present a couple of different opportunities and kind of change some rankings around. So let's kind of dig into this here. So first we'll touch on the non-tier AOE. So non-tier AOE just means that any type of pets that aren't a part of Sharon's tier system that he created, think of these ones are out of relevancy. So yes, the Boo utility belt still does a lot of damage, but at the same time, especially if you watch my last video in terms of how the CR impacts pet damage, and then also the video that was attached to that, which is the beam penetration or the hidden pet damage. Any one of the tier trinkets, the tier 3 ones, can easily outpace a Boo utility belt if it has those extra beam penetration. So I'll link that video in the description as well, just in case you want to follow up on that. But still, just for damage that you can kind of pop and then switch armories to something else, the Boo utility belt will still be useful for that. But other than that, all these trinkets will net you way less damage than any of the even the tier 1 trinkets. But that's essentially it. The other thing to be mindful as well, the Eerie Jack Pumpkin, Death Blossoms, these ones have fake damage a part of it. So if you parse it, you'll see a large damage hit of 258,003 at 378. But that damage does not show up in the scorecard. That's being confirmed. Then also, if you choose to use the Summer Event Trinket, which is the strongest non-tier, you have to remember that is melee range only. Don't be ranged, because then it doesn't do its kind of like plant Sonic Shout kind of acid spit attack. It won't do that at range. It can only do it at melee. So jumping over to the Henchmen. The Henchmen, same thing. They saw some slight adjustments in terms of 3 targets to 5 targets, which kind of changed around some rankings, but mostly they stayed the same. If you want to know what the Apex Predators, these were the new Henchmen that were released, a part of the extra rewards, a part of the Dark Knights. Now, there's a lot of Henchmen, specifically also the Apex Predators in general, that have 10% damage increases when used in their specific content. So technically, the Apex Predators would get 10% extra damage used in Dark Knight content, but at the same time, 200k base damage, even with the 10%, gets you nowhere near the top tier trinkets for Henchmen. The LexCorp security robots, these ones were a part of the Birds of Prey. Now, I thought when I was doing my testing, technically this was last week, so I thought technically it could have got buffed by the content, even though I didn't use it in Birds of Prey. This is all in House of Legends. I wasn't sure if that Birds of Prey event was buffing it at all, so I retested it yesterday when Save the Universe dropped, and I was still getting the same results. So there's a lot of fluctuation. Like you get through, even though these are 3 parses tested, I probably did about 10 of these just because I wasn't sure why I was getting all the different results. So you get 300Ks, 400Ks, 500Ks, 600Ks, almost 700Ks out of the LexCorp security robots. It fluctuates wildly due to for whatever reason, I don't know if something changed, but they don't always do their sticky bomb attack, which is what nets them the most damage. Sometimes it does it once or twice, which you get like the 688 parse. Sometimes it doesn't do it at all. That's where you get like the mid 300s. So this trinket is kind of risk versus reward. Same concept as like the Cersei Beastie morphs. If you don't get the Sonic Shout, if you get a Sonic Shout out of them, then yeah, you could get like mid 500s. But if you don't, then you're getting like mid to low 400s. That's all determined on Sonic Shout. So water golems, these are the most consistent ones before the testing, after the testing. These came from the anniversary event. You can also probably find them on the marketplace, like the broker as well. But these are very, very consistent. And then technically the trench creatures, any henchman that is active during the seasonal gets the summer buff. Now this was confirmed by Sharon. If the summer event is active, in all content, the trench creatures would get the buff. Same thing if you like the spring event, winter event, whichever. Any seasonal event that's going on buffs their henchmen across all content. So then technically if you're using the trench henchman, once the summer event is over, and I think it's like 10 days now, 6 days, something like that, this will be 10% less. And I'll update that to reflect, but that one's going to be 10% higher until the summer event is over. So to get to the main point here, the tier system, we got the tier 1s. Pretty close. I mean, there's only 4k damage. Most of the tier system pets are always going to be similar, very close together. Sharon made it so that a lot of it is you can choose what skin you want to use. You're not forced into using like a particular trinket, or there'll be very minimal damage between them to kind of give people more flexibility. So I mean, even between like 10 of them, we're going from like 11k difference. We're going from like 61 or 13k difference, going from 61 to 74. So technically the bat drone comes out on top, but like I said, these are the results here, so it's minimal. Onto the tier 2s, same kind of concept there. A little bit more fluctuation, but we have plenty of trinkets within the within the 1.120s, and then the mother box comes out ahead on that. And into the tier 3s, which most people will be using. I don't have the angelic drone at tier 2 or tier 3. They were offered on the pet vendor for a little bit during when they were relevant, but then they were taken off test, and I didn't buy them on live server because it would have cost me 1,100 source marks, because it's 700 source marks for tier 3, 400 for tier 2, and I felt that was a little bit expensive at the time just to have them for testing purposes. So when they come around next time, I'll make sure I get them on test server, or if I have an abundance of source marks, which I typically don't because I use them for other things, then I'll try to purchase them on live server as well. Same thing with the Henchmen. Technically, I'm missing the Atlantis layer. Same thing. I wasn't going to spend whatever's like 1,400 marketplace cash just for a layer that I'll never use. I already did all the other layers, so I don't think you guys can fault me for not doing that one. But for the tier 3s, the important thing to remember here, or the important kind of the fact that you guys watch out for, the difference between it doesn't really show up on the 3 trinkets, or sorry, the 3 sparring targets in League Hall. It shows it much better on the 5 targets, is the turrets. So the AOE turret pets, as you can see here, in 10 seconds, they're doing almost 1 million damage. And then same thing. So it's only like a 200k difference. These pets are out for 60 seconds. These are out for 10. So it's not always in content in raids that you're going to get the full 60-second damage out of these pet trinkets, because adsets could die. You're moving down a hallway. The tank could pull the ads, and then basically they're wiped out by Gemini damage. So it's something that, yes, for sustained damage, if you're going to be in content longer than 60 seconds, then sure, you can use these. But at the same time, if it's older content or things are dying very quickly, you can get the full damage off from these in 10 seconds fairly quickly, or almost guaranteed, especially with them 6 seconds of it counting for Gemini damage and Berserk damage for Rage. It's not that far off, especially if there's more ads, and the splitting is going to be a little bit better as well. So closing the gap, we're talking 200k difference, which is not much, but at the same time, the pet damage from these trinkets is going to be a bit less for the Gemini damage, because of you're only getting 6 seconds out of this, where you're getting the full force out of these ones in terms of damage ticks. So just something to consider. Same thing with single target. I will have the single target testing out in a separate video, but at the same time you're getting like 500k single target out of the single target turret pet. So just something to consider. There may be situations where you don't always want to have the bat drone or mother box or father box active. You may be better suited running the turret pets for that max AoE damage in the shorter amount of time. But other than that, I mean, Brainiac drone, bat drone, same thing, like 1k difference between them. All the boxes are around 177, which is like a 4k difference. So really, 4k, 3k, you're not going to notice that in content. I mean, that's a weapon tap damage. So the difference between the top 5 or 6 tier trinkets is like a weapon tap damage worth it, or like a blast adapter proc. So really it's minimal when you think of it. But if you want to be, what's the best trinket, it's going to be the bat drone, kind of average it out now. Bat drone is best for tier 1, tier 3, and then for tier 2 it was same thing. That's a little bit farther. Mother box was a little bit higher in tier 2. But same thing as these will average out. That's why in this test I included more specific in terms of how much they're out. I just didn't average it at 60 seconds. You see exactly how many hit counts, so you can see the fluctuations in the hit counts. But that's the tier ranking. So this is the AoE video. I'm going to have a single target video for you as well, because there are hours, hours and hours worth of testing here. This is I mean, if I was just testing it once, that'd be fine. But I'm doing 5 parsers for all the tier 1s, then the tier 2s, then the tier 3s. All the henchmen take like even 3 parsers are like 4-minute cooldowns on the trinkets. I have to do that 3 times, and all the other pets, same thing, 3 parsers. So this is like like a week's worth of work. To retest these results, but I want to do it because I mean all my other spreadsheets were at CR 339, which is just not relevant anymore. So I want to bring this. This is all 378 max CR, and it's going to be max CR for a while because we're not getting a CR increase until the next episode, which is probably like October. So any other kind of questions or concerns, comments, put them in the comment section below, and we can continue the conversation there. Take care, guys. Thanks as always.